So I wanna show you guys a tweet that I saw earlier from High Fight. This is from some Angry Bird gameplay. Because I think this is like interesting and one of the, like a huge distinction of what separates Street Fighter 5 from Street Fighter 6. Why is that not the right size? So yeah, this is a bit of gameplay from Angry Bird's stream recently up against Evil Yoshi's Chun. And I'll just let it play out first so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So yeah, so what happens here basically is that Angry Bird does like 800 stand fierces with Ken, decimates Chun's drive gauge, and then chips out with Burnout. And I feel like a lot of people are gonna see this and be confused. They're like, what's going on here? Why did that work? And the main mistake that people will make about understanding this situation. This situation is a lot more complicated than it looks. I want to explain what's going on here because this to me is where Street Fighter 5 and Street Fighter 6 kind of like diverge into two very different games. Because in Street Fighter 5, if you block a move that's -2, like Ken's stand fierce, for example here, that's like the end of Ken's turn. Like if you don't press a button here, you've made a mistake basically in Street Fighter 5. But in Street Fighter 6, frame data is very weird, and the game is full of spacing traps. So yeah, you're probably wondering why did Evil Yoshi let Angry Bird get away with doing... This is a -2 stand fierce into another fierce, which is like... is this 9 frame startup? How fast is this thing? 10 frames for stand fierce. So there's a 12 frame gap between each of these stand fierces. Well, let me show you. So here's the thing. Here's issue number 1. Ken's stand fierce pushes you back to a range that's very awkward. So as you can see here, even though Ken's -2, if you try and press a jab afterwards, it doesn't even come close to reaching. So if I just press stand fierce into stand fierce here with Ken, I get a fat punish counter. Because it's a spacing trap. So you can't wake up with a light here. Even Chun, who has probably... This is probably... Chun's stand jab is probably the best light in the game. And even she can't really take her turn back here with a jab. So, the next layer of this mix-up is to go, okay, well this is -2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my turn back with like a medium, for example, like crouching medium punch. And that doesn't work either, because this is a privileged-ass button. This will sometimes work from up close. Like if you're a bit closer... There we go. If you're a bit closer, this can sometimes interrupt. Let's do a crouching medium kick as well. Okay, that's a better example. So Chun's crouch medium kick is a lot longer than her crouch medium punch, actually. So you'll notice that if Chun wakes up with crouch medium kick here, she does get the interrupt on stand fierce into stand fierce, but here's where the mix-up comes in. Because you're going to think to yourself, if you don't understand this game on like that level, you're going to be like, oh, well, I'll just block stand fierce and press, I'll press my crouch medium kick. Here's the problem with that. There we go. I'll just do crouch jab for the sake of this. Here's where the mix-up comes in. Because this is -2, and lights are pretty good in this game, if Ken figures out that you're going to just mash crouch medium kick in response to the stand fierce, he can just buffer crouch jab and get a fat combo. So this is where Street Fighter 6 becomes like a unintuitive game, because even though Ken is minus after his stand fierce, he actually puts you in a really nasty mix-up where basically what this boils down to is if you press crouch medium kick here with Chun, you'll beat stand fierce into stand fierce, but if Ken presses crouch jab here, he will beat the crouch medium kick. So like even though that clip shows this into itself 10 times in a row, it's actually a very complicated mind game going on here, because every single time that Chun-Li blocks the stand fierce, there's a risk that he does stand fierce into like jab drive rush or stand light kick drive rush. So that's what's going on here. I just want to kind of give context to that clip, because a lot of people will look at this and just be like, wow, this Chun doesn't know what they're doing. Why would you not take your turn after blocking the -2? Would parry in this case be okay? I mean, you can parry, but you're parrying on a +2 situation. You're taking a very big defensive decision, even though you're technically at frame advantage. So yes, you can parry, but I mean, if the Ken player just does stand fierce and then waits and sees what you're doing, they might just walk up, punish, counter, throw you. Frame data in Street Fighter 6 doesn't work the way that you think it does, and I feel like that's a roadblock for a lot of people who've been coming into this game. A lot of people who've been coming into this game from Street Fighter 5, I think this is one of the biggest things you have to kind of unlearn. Street Fighter 5 was so locked down in frame data, where it was just like, that's +2, so it's my turn, that's -2, so it's your turn. It was very, like, turn-based, up close. Street Fighter 6 doesn't have many plus frames, but what it does have in exchange is a lot of these kinds of situations. Where, yes, technically the Ken player is -2 here, but you're still in a mix-up if you press a button afterwards, because his jab will beat your medium, and his heavy will beat your light. So, yeah. Street Fighter 6 is a weird game, but I just thought that might help give some context as to why this is, like, not a misplay by Evil Yoshi. Each one of those stand fierces was a 50-50, basically, and if you pick the wrong option, you die anyway.